With a Solo Plus containment system, you get the following features: hard shell isolator design principles, hard shell isolator performance levels, lower cost, improved ergonomics, validation to meet regulatory compliance. In this 4-chamber multifunction isolator, you'll see it's designed to handle lyre guard transfer and also drum subdivision to easy dock CSV bags. This 4-chamber arrangement features an airlock for loading on the left-hand side, a central powder processing chamber with utility connections, a right-hand side bottle recovery station, and below the isolator is the high negative pressure easy dock recovery station. For the lyre guard transfer operation, the airlock is opened and a number of lyre guard sealed trays will be placed into the airlock. Here we're just using one example. The airlock will be brought into a nitrogen environment through the service panel at the back. Once the chamber is nitrogen saturated, we'll start to bring the trays into the main workstation. Note we have an SOP for cleaning the gloves to make sure no contamination from the central powder transfer chamber gets into the load airlock. Once the load airlock zip is closed, the pressure cascade in the isolator will soon stabilise and allow a nitrogen saturated environment for the transfer of the lyre guard trays into the easy dock bag mounted in the chamber below. After the lyre guards are emptied, they'll be placed into the continuous liner system at the rear of the isolator for safe, contamination-free disposal. For normal API handling operations that does not require a nitrogen saturated environment, the isolator can also be set up for drum subdivision operations. Here you see the API drum being loaded. Now the airlock is swept by a HEPA filtered airflow in and out. Again, the material will be pulled through into the powder transfer chamber, but again we need to decontaminate the gloves to ensure there's no API backtrack into the clean airlock. This is an essential SOP that is used on most SoloContainment isolator systems. Gas-tight zips are a feature of all Solo flexible film isolators. Once transferred into the chamber, we clean off the API drum and we can prepare to do a subdivision on a weigh scale. The protocol here would be to weigh out a small aliquot of the API material, check the weight and then transfer the weighed amount through the work floor of the stainless steel tray into the Easy Dock CSV transfer bag in the chamber below. Here you can really see the benefit of the low friction frosted polyurethane glove sleeves that are a feature of Solo's flexible isolators. With the API aliquot weighed and ready for transfer, we set about preparation of the Easy Dock transfer bag. The transfer bag is loaded onto the active side of the Easy Dock. Here you can see the stages for preparation for transfer. The slider is opened and then the Easy Dock valve is closed to make a powder-free transfer. We close the chamber. This is the lowest negative pressure chamber in the entire isolator sequence. And in preparation for transfer, we remove the tri-clamp disc over the transfer chute. Because we want to minimise any API contamination of the Easy Dock slide valve, we're inserting a transfer funnel. Now as the API is transferred, you'll see an aerosol cloud being generated. But the Solo airflow system is such that it's held at low level and minimises contamination of the isolator enclosure. At the end of the transfer, we remove the charge funnel and we're going to replace the tri-clamp disc. stainless steel base tray is manufactured to be washed through. It has gas-tight cable glands on the rear wall and tri-clamp connections to allow nitrogen, wash water and other gas services to be brought into the isolator as the client requires. This entire stainless steel work deck is designed to a construction that makes it easy to wash through. With the transfer chute fully sealed gas tight, it's time to recover the EasyDock container below. Firstly, we're going to decontaminate gloves, and then after the EasyDock system is closed, we're going to make sure there's no residual API contamination on the bag or the passive part of the EasyDock before it's removed from the isolator. So here you can see the close sequence, the disconnect, and now the wipe down to ensure there's no residual contamination of API exiting the isolator. This chamber operates at -60 pascals negative pressure. So when we open the zip, there will be always a slight inward airflow into the chamber. Here the weighed API in its EasyDock transfer bag is removed and may be taken to the next stage of the pharmaceutical process. An essential part of all pharmaceutical dispensing operations is to recover the drum and return it to the stores or warehouse. Here the drum has already been thoroughly decontaminated and is absolutely clean, free of any residual API contamination. It's now ready for the bag out operation, and Solo use an 80-metre long continuous liner system on the rear face of the isolator. This is usually covered by a gas tight seal. Here it's been removed for clarity. So the first step is we decontaminate the drum, second step is we place the drum into the continuous liner, and the third step of this operation is to pull the continuous liner out so we can crimp off the drum, and the drum will go back to the stores or warehouse completely cocooned in the continuous liner pouch. Here the drum and liner are being twisted to prepare the liner for crimping. Once a crimp is in place, we then split the crimp, and this marks the end of the subdivision operation. The Solo Plus containment system brings you hard shell isolator performance with lower cost and faster delivery, excellent user ergonomics, validation to meet regulatory compliance. Trust Solo to deliver a right first time solution.